Okay, so now let's get to the fun part. In this video, I'm going to show you how to integrate your done-for-you niche opt-in pages with GetResponse and with SendLane. So it's going to be really simple. Just copy and paste, look over my shoulder as I do it. And when I say integrate, that means make those forms that are already there on the page work and function so that they grab those subscribers and put them on your list. So we're going to make those pages work with your autoresponder so you can start capturing leads. And then finally, spend just a couple of minutes showing you how to get all the files up online using some free software. So first things first, let's jump back into the folder where our web page is. The first thing we want to do is make a copy of the original file. That file is called index.html. Now I'm going to go up to this Views button and click it a couple times so we can make those icons a little bit bigger, a little easier viewing. So I want to right-click on this index.html. That's my web page. I want to go down and click on Copy. I want to right-click in the white space and click on Paste. So now I have a copy of the original file in case I come in and just screw things up and can't get it back. No worries. I have a little peace of mind because I have an original copy. All right, so do that first. So now we can, open up the index page. I showed you how to do that in the previous video as far as getting it into the HTML editor. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the editor. Where we're going to be working is in the code mode. Let's come down to the bottom left of the page, left corner. You see these three tabs. One says Design, Split, and Code. Click on the code, and it opens up the HTML code. It makes things look and feel and do what they're supposed to do on the web page. Don't let this intimidate you. I know it looks like a foreign language, but really we're just going to be searching for two specific lines on this page, and they're numbered here on the left-hand side, and we're going to replace it with two lines that we get from our autoresponder code, or opt-in form code, from our autoresponder service. So your next step is to go into the autoresponder, find your opt-in form that you want to use, where you want people to be subscribed, and grab the code. So I'm going to go into, actually, of course, I'm going to be doing both GetResponse and SendLane. First, I'll go into GetResponse. Now, I'm not going to show you creating a code. I'm just going to show you how to get the code and take the lines we need from that code and put it into our done-for-you niche web pages. So, of course, to find your web forms and GetResponse, you go to the top, go to the web forms list. That's the page I'm on now. So let's just say I want to use this bottom form that I've created. So what I want to do is click on View Source. So go to your web form list, choose the one that you want to capture leads with, and then click on View Source. We want to click the tab that says Show HTML Code. We then want to click this button that says Include CSS Styles. When we click it, it's going to turn that off. Click in the box, right-click, select All. Now that's highlighted, I'm going to right-click in that and choose Copy. Now I'm going to take that and paste it into a text pad. Just right-click in the white space and click on Paste. So what I'm using is called Notepad plus, excuse me, not Notepad with a T, but Notepad with a D ++. I like using this anytime I'm working with HTML code. Now, by default, your computer has something called Notepad, which is a basic text pad that doesn't have these numbers. You can use that, but I think you might appreciate having the Notepad++. You can search it in Google and download it so that you can at least have the option of these numbers. It kind of helps you track the lines of code. I think that might be a little bit easier for you when you're trying to locate a specific line. All right, so what we want to get first is this top line where it says Form Action and Post. Ends in Post. See where it starts with Form and Accept? I said Action, and it says Action right here. I call it a Form Action, but it's this first line from the left bracket to the closing right bracket. I'm going to copy that. All right, now let's go back to the code in my HTML editor. I'm going to look for that same line, which is right here, number 14. See where it says Form Accept Action? This is the same line. Form Accept Charset UTF-8 Action Method Post Opt-in. Let's compare them. Okay. You can think of it being the Form Accept Charset. Starts with a form, Accept Charset. We're just replacing one over the other. So I've copied this from my GetResponse code. And once I've highlighted this line of code, make sure I don't highlight anything else. No extra space is highlighted. I'm going to right click while it's highlighted, put my mouse on the highlighted area, and then click on paste. Now that's pretty simple, right? We have one other place we want to replace. Line 29. We just replaced 14. Come down to line 29, and we want to replace this input hidden tag. Input type equals hidden. Let's pull up my get response. I want to find the input hidden. One way to do that is hit Control F. Hold down Control, click F on your keyboard while you have this opened, and then type in the word hidden, and then click on Find Next. It took me right to it. So that's a quick way to find it. Okay, that Control F can be really handy. So it's line 91. So you might jot that down. The first one was easy because it was right at the top. Yes, line 2. So line 2 and line 91 in get response form code using the Notepad++. I'm going to right click. I've already highlighted, so I'm going to right click and copy, and then I'm going to put my mouse over the highlighted area back in my web form in the editor and click paste. And then click on save right here at the top. Okay? That's all there is to it. You're replacing 2 lines. Now the same process applies to the SendLane code. These two are kind of compatible as far as the code that's already in your done for you niche opt-in pages. So real simple using either of these services. So let me jump over to SendLane now. Now to find any subscription forms that you've already created, you go to integration, and then you'll see a list of all the forms, opt-in forms you've created that are, of course, tied to a specific campaign, a list that you've set up where you want to capture subscribers. So you want to go to integration with your site, and then you want to come down and get this code. I'm going to click in that area. It automatically highlights everything. Again, right click, copy. I'm going to pull up my ++ notepad. It's actually Notepad++. Paste it in just like I did before. All right, so, and this, it's not right at the top. There's a lot of styling here. We want to come down near the bottom. In fact, if you just pull, let's see what line it is. It is number 276. Now this one's actually pretty easy because the next line underneath it is the second line we need, so there's no scrolling down to find it. They just happen to be adjacent, one under the other. So I'm going to take where it says form equals name and come all the way to the closing bracket. Again, feel free to pause the video if you need to, if you're following along step by step. From form to post, line 276. I'm going to copy that. Going to come back in here, and where it says form, accept charset, again, we're highlighting that entire line to the closing right bracket. Highlight, put our mouse in the highlighted area, click paste. Now back to our notepad where the second line we need from SendLane is directly underneath it. Highlight everything from the left bracket to the right. Right click and copy. Come down here to line 28 where it says input type equals hidden. Copy from bracket to bracket. Do that, then paste and save. So I think that's pretty simple. You're just replacing 2 specific lines, and you're replacing the exact same lines in either GetResponse or SendLane. Okay. So again, feel free to pause the video or come back and watch it over. Pause, take the step. Pause, take the step, and then check it out. Now, once you get this done, don't forget to go up and save it. Okay. Then your next step is actually going to be to pull it up in your browser. Now, in the previous video, I showed you, you can go up here and click this button to preview in Chrome. Just FYI. When you're in your folder that contains, the web page file, you can double click on this index to bring it up in your browser as well. Now, some of this you probably already know, but just trying to cover the bases, okay? Once you pull it up in your browser, actually fill out the form and make sure it does what it's supposed to do. It goes to where you want people to be redirected to, that the next step actually happens. Check your inbox, look for the email, log back into either GetResponse or SendLane to make sure that, you are now a subscriber there. All right, so you just kind of have to test everything to make sure it works properly. Don't assume. So that's always a good webmaster rule. All right, so the customization for integrating with an autoresponder is pretty simple here. Only thing we have left to do is just show you how to get it up online. So I'm going to pull up my FTP software. Now I use Smart FTP. I just like the layout a little bit better, but it is a paid resource. I want to say maybe $25, $35. I can't remember. I've had it for so long. But I'm going to show you using FileZilla, which is a free FTP tool that you can download. So I'm going to pull up FileZilla. All right, so you can go to Google, look for FileZilla, FileZilla. You can type in FileZilla and download, and you'll find the page. Once it's downloaded and installed, let me give you an overview here. Looks kind of intimidating at first, but you can think about dividing this page in two. There's a left section and a right section. You can see the center bar separates it. On the left-hand side, you see the words that say local site right here. That means this is how you access all the files on your computer. On the right-hand side says remote site. This will be your hosting or your web server. Okay, this is where you upload your files onto the web. So when you get your hosting account, you're going to get a username and password. You use that exact same user and password right here in the software. You come to the very top. In host, you enter your domain, johndoe.com. Type in your username here and your pass, and then hit Quick Connect. All right, so I'm going to log into my website. All right, so I've hidden the fields above the video just for privacy, and I'm going to hit the Quick Connect button, and you'll see it start loading the pages. This little thing that popped up is just saying, hey, confirm that you trust this site. I'm going to click OK, so it's going to finish loading everything. All right, so you'll notice we had some things appear here on this right-hand side, correct? So these are all the files that are on your server. Now, you're not going to have these many folders. This is many, many, many years old. But what you will have, you might have a CGI bin, you might have an images, and then you'll have this public HTML. And this is what we're going to focus on. So all your web files are going to live in this folder. Sometimes I might refer to as a directory called public_HTML. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. And you see when I did that, it opened up all the folders in my public HTML. And again, you're not going to have, if you're just starting and you have a brand new hosting account, you're not going to have anything here. Okay. So this will most likely be empty. Well, it will be if you're just getting started. You might have one or two folders, but for the most part, you're in the right place if you click on public_HTML. So now let's look on the left-hand side. We want to be able to go and browse for our files, our web page files, so that they appear in this window. So at the top, wherever you've got them stored, just kind of do the navigation by clicking on some of these files or plus buttons till you find. This may take a little bit of playing with if you're not used to locating files this way. But I keep mine in documents, so I would click on documents, and then if I've got them in a few folders deep, I would just go in and click and open those, and then click and open the next one if that's the case, if I've kind of got them treed. Treed meaning multi-levels, within a folder. So I'm going to pause the video and do that so I won't waste your time there. Just one second. Now, one thing you will notice when you click on a folder on the top, it's going to open up everything within that folder in the bottom section. So as long as you're browsing up here, I'm going to click on Documents. Everything in my documents shows up down here. So you're navigating at the top and you're working in the files below. Okay? All right, so I've navigated to where my web page folders are. So I can just double click on opt-in pages and find the one that I've worked on. So in this case, I think I worked on opt-in 2. I just double click on it, it opens it up. Now, if you need to go back, an easy shortcut to go back to the previous level where you were, is just hit the backspace on your keyboard. So every time you hit backspace, it keeps going to, the previous level. Okay. So now, here's all you need to do. A couple of ways to highlight everything. If you see what I did there, I put my mouse in the white space, I left-clicked and held that button, so I'm holding it and just dragging the mouse over the files I want to highlight. Real quick and easy way. Or you can hold down the control button, and as you're holding that down, click on each of the files that you want to upload. You're going to want to upload all three of those files, the style, the index.html, and the images. So here's all you need to do. Click in the highlighted area, hold the button, and drag it over to the right-hand side. When you do, all three of those files and folders, everything within included, are going to be uploaded onto your website. Okay, and then when you go to your website, if your domain is johndoe.com, and if you go to johndoe.com, because there's an index in your public_HTML folder on your web server, that's the page that's going to be seen whenever you pull up that domain. Okay, so whatever the index page is in your public_HTML folder on your hosting server is what's going to appear when anybody pulls up, your domain name. So now option 2. Let's just say you're using a branding domain name, but you want to put this in a subfolder of that domain. That just means johndoe.com/folder name. I'm going to right click on this right hand side to create a new folder. And I say folder, I'm going to actually call it new directory. So what am I going to call that directory? It's highlighted so I can automatically type that in. So I'm going to say free-report and click on OK. So let me go down. As it's in alphabetical, I should be able to see free-report, and there it is. So if I want to move the files to that subdirectory, I would double click on it to open it up. Now I can take each of these, let me highlight it again, and just drag them over. And you can see the status is working on the top, and everything is dragged over. So now all the files are online. Now that's pretty simple, right? You can do this. Just remember, pull up your page into the HTML editor, go to your autoresponder, grab the code. You can pause and watch this video as often as you need it to go step by step. Just do as I do. A couple of things you need to download would be the Microsoft Expression Web 4 HTML editor. You need the Notepad. I prefer the Notepad++. Again, search for these in Google. And then you need this FileZilla FTP software. Okay, so now before I wrap up this video, I want to show you something else real quick, and that's just how to get your free report up online and grab your link so that you'll know what to do to give it to people once you send out that email. So I've seen quite a lot of questions about that. You may already know how to do it, but otherwise I'll show you this. I'm going to pull up the Word doc. Actually, I'm pulling up the wrong one. The report is what I want, not the solo ad. All right, so I showed you about saving it earlier, into a Word doc, but actually you can just go to File and Save As and choose the PDF option, okay? And then just save it to the same folder where you have all of your other files. You can give it a different name if you want right here. All right, so we'll save that. So now if I look back into my folder, I now see the free report giveaway PDF that I just saved. So we want to go back into our FTP software so we can find that and upload it online the same way we did our web page files. Okay, so I want to go back. Let's see, we want to go back into our diabetes folder. I see it right there. So what do you think I do? I just click and drag it right over to my server where the other files are from my web page. Okay, so if I do that, just click and drag it. And now we see it over on the right-hand side, which says, all right, it made it to my server online. So how do we know what link to give people to access that report? Well, here's the way it works. I'm going to pull up my Notepad. Okay, so it's going to be http:// and then you're going to put your domain. // Now remember, when we uploaded those files, we created a directory called free report, right? Right here it is. These are all the files inside our directory called free report. And we know that's directly under our domain, as we talked about earlier. So we now know that's free report // and now we just need to include the name of the report, which was called free report giveaway.pdf. Now, it is case sensitive, so it has to be exactly as you named it, okay? And this is what it is. So we can highlight all of that, copy it, put it into our email, and they now have a way to download that free content that we promised them when they subscribed via our opt-in page. All right, so listen, I think that's it. That's all there is for this video as far as, some basic editing, customization, knowing what you have, what to do with it, and helping you get started with your done-for-you niche packages.